brought this up on the last recording, which was very long, by the way, but there's something about, or something big, about Tsugumi's explanation of her condition that is not quite clear. You see, she says she is forever 17, essentially, but there are two processes, distinct different processes, the body goes through as it gets older. One I'm going to call aging, and the other I'm going to call growth. Sorry, my throat's a little bit plugged for some reason right now. I'm not sick, I just ate. Um, Excuse me. So, aging is that I would define as deterioration of the body's functions and structures with time. So that would be your skin being damaged by ionizing radiation that comes from the sun, the DNA that is, and cells functioning abnormally and getting sun blotches, um, deterioration of the structural integrity of the skin, and its elasticity. So it gets kind of more creased and wrinkly and has more discoloration. The loss of color in the hair and the thinning and the shortening of it. Development of diseases such as arthritis. Um, Loss of muscle mass and the ability to put on and retain muscle. Decreased functioning of the brain and the ability to remember things and loss of memories. Eventually, your heart just gives up and just it's like I can't not. I've deteriorated such that I just can't beat anymore, and that's when you die of what we colloquially call old age. Um, Also, as you go through life, your body gets exposed to carcinogenic chemicals, and radiation, and just probabilistic things, and your DNA starts to pick up damage or deletions, insertions, transpositions, what have you, and eventually the mechanisms that prevent your cells from dividing uncontrollably may break down enough that you'll develop malignant cancer, and this probability of this happening increases with time. So that's aging. Growth is your body getting bigger and becoming more functional, becoming bigger, taller, stronger, and having your brain have a greater capacity to make decisions and reason out situations. So if say you're stuck at 17, does that mean that don't age past 17, or do you also not age but then also not grow past 17? Now, um, there's kind of two sides of this. So you could think, okay, well, maybe the culture, maybe Japan, maybe the game writers, maybe Uchikoshi, decide to say that somebody who doesn't age, where their body would look like would be like a 17-year-old, approximately. And that's just kind of the culture, that's their idea of kind of like what your body would continue to look like, and that all changes in your body's appearance past 17 are due to aging. But some way to kind of like something that kind of eats at that is Sora. Because Sora, remember, doesn't have a real body, she's just a projection. But Sora, you would think, would be somewhat of an idealized female body. But she had an appearance of someone who was 24. Does that mean that she was actually intentionally given imperfections in order to make it look like she had aged past 17? We don't really know from the sprites because the sprites aren't detailed enough. They don't show any imperfections in Sora's appearance. Um, so we don't. I don't know. Reason why this matters is that the parts of your brain, particularly your prefrontal cortex, doesn't finish making all of its connections, and your capacity for decision making and thinking rationally does not, as far as I understand, does not completely doesn't reach as best as it can get until you're age 21 approximately, which means your body is still growing in some way or other until 21. I've actually also heard that men do not stop getting taller until they're 21. Some men, it depends on the man. It's like different. Some people finish growing sooner, some finish growing later. Some people don't actually finish growing taller until 21. So that's something I'm pretty sure about. Some other things I've heard from a family member who kind of is a little bit of a crackpot sometimes. I don't know if any, don't quote me on this stuff. Warning, maybe potentially ugly information here. The time period for which a woman is for, if they were to true on average give birth to a baby, have the fewest complications to doing so, for it to be the safest. Now, giving birth isn't safe inherently, but like the most not safe is from ages 25 to 35. If you try to make a baby earlier than that, you can, obviously, but it's less ideal. It's not gonna, the chances of you getting like some sort of complication during birth are higher. Again, don't quote me on that. That's just something from some family member. Also, I've heard at some point this idea that physical attractiveness of women on average, if you average all women and all men, is maximized on average at age 19. Don't know where I heard that from, and it could be completely made up. You could say it's subjective, but I said average to try to get rid of the whole subjectivity. But the point of all of that was to say that those ages, 25, 21, 19, no matter how much truth to what there is to what I said, those ages are all older than 17. So if your body was trapped as like that of a 17-year-old, you would be, and it would not continue to grow, then your brain would be not quite finished, which would be a type of subtle, not really severe, but some sort of non-zero mental disability. That would be disabling to some degree. Your ability to have a child, although it wouldn't be gone, you could still do it, but it would be less safe and like not be as good an experience as if you were older. So the physical attractiveness part, I don't think you have to worry about that. I think 17-year-olds are perfectly fine, although illegal. Anyway, but it's like not an ideal age to be at. It's slightly younger than what you'd really want to be. You'd really want to be, if you wanted to freeze your age, you'd really want to do that at somewhere around 21 or 25. You wouldn't want to do it at 17. That's just, things are not finished at 17. Now, I would argue that that's better than growing old. Like, I'd rather be forever 17 than turn into an old man slowly and watch things go downhill. I mean, that's not much to complain about there. But it is somewhat, it's not a completely 100% positive thing. And you can try to say that maybe this is why, if she doesn't grow past 17, why Tsugumi could maybe feel a little bit, I don't know, not happy about that. Besides just being literally stuck in her emo phase forever. Literally can't grow out of it. So I said stuff of reasons why you would think that she didn't grow past 17. The reason why you think she did is because all the sci-fi mumbo jumbo. Tsugumi says that her immune system was boosted. And something else having to do with her healing really fast, I don't know, but the clotting factors are better or something. But also that her telomerase was turned on in all of her cells. So, and that's their kind of explanation for how, like, sci-fi mumbo jumbo, like, it's not any real science, for how, like, she would not age. Well, of course, I know, well, I'll explain about some scientific mumbo jumbo, I think, a little bit later, but those things wouldn't be scientific mumbo jumbo explanations for you to stop growing, only that you would stop aging. So if we go off of Tsugumi's explanation, then we presume that she didn't grow up into a woman. It's that her body didn't age past a 17-year-old's age, which just means she didn't accumulate cell damage past 17. And so, and then by the culture of the game writers of this, then that would mean her appearance would be like a 17-year-old. So it's kind of, you can kind of take it both ways, and the game hasn't explained it like perfectly, one or the other. So the reason why I say it's kind of like scientific mumbo, it's like mumbo jumbo, is that you look older. Like, we don't really know how much the telomere length actually affects your age. It may seem like I read a little bit about it back when I was doing Never 7 because cloning came up. It appears that mostly, if you read a lot of Wikipedia, which has some junk on it, so don't take this as fact either, that it doesn't really affect your age. Um, that's kind of this fantasized sci-fi thing. Here's something that people like to think about, but it's not really that big a deal. What makes you look older is generally just you get exposed to the sun, and it just ages your skin, it just ages your appearance, at least in your younger years. So that's what would make you look how a 24-year-old would look older than a 17-year-old. It's just purely sun damage. Um, and to the telomere race would not help you with that because although it can um, add more DNA to the ends, it wouldn't repair DNA that got damaged by radiation. Um, so it doesn't really make any sense, honestly. I don't really know how long you would live before you ran out of telomeres, such that by the lack of telomeres you would die. It might actually be centuries. Anyway, um, if Takechi manages to woo this woman, remember, use palm reading, where one route you lose everything. We've seen that route. The other route you marry a beautiful woman and you have a family. Imagine imagine like some men, if they hear about the existence of a woman who does not age, their reaction might actually be go real hard and try to get this girl. Like real hard. It's like the waifu that never grows old. Um, like the ultimate prize. And yeah, if you were a woman that never grew older, you may not want to tell anybody that because first of all, society might try to like take away your freedom and wrap you in bubble wrap, make your life somewhat awkward. But also, you'd have problems with a bunch of guys going after you and going after you hard. Anyway, that was a while. I'm going to go do something and then um, jump right into the game after that. Yeah, just to be clear, I don't know. It's not necessarily like your ability to have children and be physically attractive. If that's not, doesn't necessarily have to be what you would use to decide what you want to be. Like, don't take it like that, please, people. Okay. Should I try? I'm going to actually load this and see if apologize um, changes it. See if this actually has a route effect.
どうして謝るの？勘違いしないで。個々の身代わりになって傷を負ったわけじゃ。私は死にたかっただ。なんで助けた？あのままほっと死ねたのに。言ったでしょ。私は。
Okay, so it still does the scene still continues. So when I had that very Sora biased route, basically Takeshi would just walk out on Tsugumi, but he's
あな
not
た
doing
人生
that.
なんてただの
Um,
悪夢。
but he's not doing that if I chose apologize. So doesn't apologize doesn't have that effect. Whether or not that propagates later on is something positive, not sure. Like you have to get enough Tsugumi points to get a certain ending, and not choosing it doesn't get you that ending. Hopefully that won't happen to me, because my long save file is based off of just saying nothing.
よくもまあ、そんなことが言えたものね。
Okay, here we go. You've really got some nerve talking like that. So, what else could I do? It's better than just standing by and watching him sink in despair. It's better to have a little hope than nothing at all, right? So this came after. I can't believe how irresponsible you can be. Who the hell do you think you are? Really, do you think you are? That comes after, and that's how you keep pushing him to agree with you and buy into all your fake ideals. Okay.
偽善者。
You're such a hypocrite. Well, you know what? You're selfish and self-righteous, and you're always faking like you don't care about anyone. You go around hurting people on purpose and making them feel like crap. And now you're trying to make me look bad.
違う。わざわざしてるわけじゃない。
I do not. I'm not doing it on purpose.
いろんなことが気に入らないだけよ。
There's just a lot that I don't agree with. Liar. That's not the way you want things to happen in your heart, and you know that. Why do you have to lash out at everything? Why do I always instigate and say what I don't mean? Anyway, why can't you just be yourself for once?
違う。素直じゃないのはあなた。
You're wrong. You're the one who isn't being yourself. I'm always myself. That is true. Takeshi is very, just like, loose.
ひねくれ者。
You're so twisted. That's funny coming from you. I mean, Takeshi is technically right in this situation, although he is still an idiot. This isn't what we were talking about anyway. Why are you so angry? If I did something wrong, then I guess I deserve it. If there really is a good reason, then hey, I won't complain. So come on, tell me. I won't argue with you, just tell me what it is.
知りたい？そんなに。
You really want to know? Tsugumi sat back down in the gondola. Her tone had almost returned to normal. Yeah, of course. She hesitated a bit, but soon came to sit next to me. Tsugumi looked straight ahead. She didn't try to look at me.
どうして？
Why? Because I want to know. Because I want to know what my friends are thinking. I put my hand lightly on her shoulder. I was becoming more and more worried. Why would you put your hand on Tsugumi's shoulder? She'd be like, "Don't touch me," and smack you. Maybe she was still trying to be stubborn. Tsugumi didn't try to shake off my hand, but just sat there.
そうね。
That's right.
私も仲間とやらになったのよね。
You made me one of the gang, hadn't you?
聞きたければ聞けばいい。
Want to know? Then here goes.
答えてあげるわよ。私は所詮あなたの仲間なんだから。
I'll tell you. It's because in the end I've become your friend. Why do you have to say it like that? You're not still. Tsugumi thrust her hand into her pocket and took something out. Is this the crinkly thing?
たけしはこれ、なんだか知ってるわよね。
Takeshi, you know what this is, right? Chami. Down, but it's spelled differently. I think it's Jung. Anyway, Jungarian hamster. Who cares? Where the heck did you pull that from?
ポケット。
My pocket. I know that. That's not what I'm thinking. Not what I'm asking. Don't just shove him out and talk about him as a this. Hamsters are delicate living creatures, and you should be careful with them.
そうよね。
Yeah, you're right.
でも、 しょうがないじゃない。
What else can I do?
この子の居場所は他にないもの。
He doesn't have anywhere else to go. Chami stood in Tsugumi's hand. He twitched his nose and looked up at both of our faces inquisitively. Tsugumi stroked Chami softly with the tip of her finger.
ねえ、たけし。こうするとどうなるか知ってる？
Hey Takeshi, you know what will happen if I go like this? Tsugumi grasped both her hands tightly together. In between the cracks in her fingers, I could see Chami's soft, warm-looking gray fur. Soon his body disappeared entirely on her
どうなる
hands.
か知ってる？
Do you know what will happen? Idiot, cut it out.
ねえ。答えてよ。
Come on, answer me. A lot of splatterer. Tsugumi started to squeeze harder. Chami, who only the tip of his nose was visible, turned his beady eyes toward Tsugumi. What are you talking about? It's totally obvious. What a stupid question. You want to talk about stupid questions? There is one for you. She started squeezing more. The space between her fingers got smaller and smaller. Chami twisted his body and started to struggle. Cut it out, Tsugumi. If you go like this, Chami's going to... Hamster looked at Tsugumi and me. At the end, I thought he even let out a small breath. Wow. That was unexpected. Squish! Tsugumi crushed her hands together with all her might. They pressed together. Her hands were shaking with the effort. From the cracks in her fingers, red droplets started to fall.
ねえ。たけし。
Well, Takeshi.
チャミはどうなったと思う？
Do you think happened to Chami? Tsugumi's voice was also shaking.
答えてよ。
Tell me.
答えてよ。
Tell me. No. You think I'm going to answer you that? Open your hands. Tsugumi, open your hands. Please just open them up. Now. Her hands were shaking heavily as they opened. Chami. Tsugumi, what have you done? He was dead. And his fur was slightly wet. Chami looked like a dirty old dish rag. Probably all the bones in his body were broken. All of his blood had probably been squeezed from his body. He probably hadn't had any time to wonder. It happened so fast. His life had been extinguished.
ね
So,
え、たけし。知ってる？
Takeshi, do you know?
これからどうなると思う？
What do you think is going to happen now? Tsugumi? Cut it out. I shook Tsugumi's shoulders violently. I thought for sure that I would knock her down. I forced her to look at me, but Tsugumi was crying and her lips trembled as she bit down on them.
たけし。
Takeshi,
どうして答えてくれないのよ。
why don't you answer me? Chami is dead. He won't ever move again. In her hand, Chami seemed to move faintly, as if he had woken up suddenly. His movements were stiff and barely visible and extremely slow, but he was actually moving. His heart had started beating again, and he had started thinking again, breathing again. He shook himself off slightly, fluttered his ears, and twitched his nose. He got up on shaking legs and even tried to stand. However, there was still blood on his hand, on her hand.
ねえ、たけし。
So, Takeshi,
チャミ、どうなった？
what happened to Chami? Our gondola at Quale had already passed the entrance to the ride twice and was just starting to make its third pass. One pass really wasn't that long. Altogether, we had only been on it between just over 10 minutes. In that brief time, he had returned to normal and was sitting up in her palm, staring at the two of us inquisitively.
この子はね、
Please? Sugumi was petting Chami softly again with the tip of her finger.
少年とは違うの。
Different than the kid.
あなたとも違うの。
Different than you.
見たでしょ？
You saw, didn't you?
これが現実。
That was real.
チャミはウイルスに侵されている。
Chami has the virus.
最初に触ろうとした時、チャミが爪を立てた。
The first time I tried to pet him, he got spooked.
私の手に噛みついて、チャミは血を浴びた。
Bit my finger and my blood got all over him.
だからチャミは私と同じになった。
So Chami's just like me now. No. No way. No way, I don't believe you. I still couldn't believe her. Or what she told me about the virus earlier. Or what had happened right in front of me then.
ほら、生きてるわ、この子。
See, this little guy's alive. Tsugumi murmured as she looked down.
生きてる。
He's alive.
息してるし、心臓も動いてるよ。
He's breathing. His heart is beating.
でも、痛かったよね。苦しかったよね。
It hurt, didn't it, little guy? It was painful, wasn't it?
私、ひどいことしちゃったよね。
I did something
ごめ
terrible.
んね、チャミ。ごめんね。
I'm sorry, Chami. I'm so sorry.
許して。私が悪かったの。
Forgive me. I was wrong.
でも、生きててよかったね。
It's okay, because you're alive, right? I started shaking Tsugumi's shoulders again. What the hell are you talking about? How can you say something like that? You just put him through something unimaginable, and now you just say it's okay because you're alive?
違う！
No. Tsugumi brushed my hands off.
あなたが言ったのよ！
That's what you said.
あの時、たけしが言ったじゃないの！
It's exactly what you said back there.
生きてさえいればって。
It's enough to be alive. You're the one who said that.
それがどうなの？見たでしょ？
So how about it? You saw what happened, right?
チャミがどんな目にあったか、私がどんな目に遭わせたのか。たけしだって今、見たでしょ？
You saw what happened to Chami, right? What I did to him? You saw it, Takeshi.
生きてさえいればいいなんて。そんな。
And you can say it's enough to still be alive? Well, it isn't.
そんなことはない。絶対に、絶対にない。
It isn't, no matter what you say.
私は、そんなの信じない。
I won't believe it.
生きてるだけじゃ、生きてるとは言えないのよ。
It isn't enough to just have life. You can't say that's living.
どう？わかる？
Do you understand?
わからない？
Or don't you?
たけし、答えてよ。
Takeshi, tell me.
ねえ、チャミ、
How about you, Chami?
チャミには、わかる？
Do you understand? Well, if she regenerates that fast, we know why you was like, what? Why you thought there was something funky when she did the repair. It also explains why she doesn't have to worry about getting decompression sickness. That's not a thing. Her face was pointing down. I couldn't see her expression. But I didn't have to. I knew what it was. Sugumi was crying silently. Countless tears fell from her face. like raindrops falling one by one onto the red-stained floor of Quale. The physics of that makes very little sense. If you were to repair all of that damage that quickly, it would take an extremely high amount of energy. So and you lost all your blood. Like, how do you? It's like you're beating the laws of thermodynamics at that point, but you're supposed to. Anyway, I didn't know what to say. No words seemed adequate. I mean, what if she were to? I mean, she could still starve to death, right?
ね
Hey,
え、私が何回死んだか知ってる？
you know how many times I've died? Well, we've seen one of them. Yeah, she probably survived the bad ending. She was trying to stay as calm as she could. I have no idea. I scarcely can move my lips as I reply.
私ももう覚えてない。
I don't remember anymore anyway.
そのウイルスのキャリアは当初世界でも十数人と言われた。
In the beginning, there were said to be only a few of us carriers.
その中でも私は少し特殊だった。
It's like all of these characters are carriers. But out of all of them, I was special.
2005年8月、
August 2005.
12歳の私は父親の仕事の関係で家族と一緒に渡米していた。
I was 12 at the time, and my family went to America because of my father's job.
その頃の私の友達、
A friend of mine then,
ジュリア、
Julia.
同い年の彼女はアメリカのとある病院に入院中だった。
Is this Curie syndrome? She and I were in the same age, and she had to go to the hospital. Did she get cured by the kid?
不治の病だと言われていたが、
They said it was a terminal disease. Are we gonna explain the backstory of Curie syndrome with something else? We're gonna explain how that boy who thought he could cure diseases cured the girl. It wasn't that at all. It was literally the virus.
悪性の腫瘍であちこちに転移して手の施しようがなかったそうよ。
She had leukemia and was transferred back and forth to different places, but nobody could help
で
her.
も私は何度もお見舞いに通った。友
And I
人
kept
ジュリアのために。
I kept going to see her to keep up her spirits.
微笑んでいる彼女が余命いくばくもないなんて私は信じなかった。
Watching her smiling face, I couldn't believe that she didn't have long to live.
もしも奇跡というものがあったら、
I thought there would be a miracle.
もしも私が祈ることで彼女が治るのなら、
I thought if I prayed enough, she'd get better.
せめて痛みや苦しみを和らげることができたなら。
Okay, from this story, it seems like this is a setup for her actually dying. If I cared enough, her pain and suffering would be less.
そう考えた。
I believed that.
そんなある日、
Then one day,
私は事故に遭った。
I got in an accident. An accident? Is that how you got the
いい
virus?
え、
No.
病院を出た途端に18輪トレーラーにはねられた。
Right after I left the hospital, I got hit by a semi-trailer.
全身を骨折、筋断裂多数、意識不明、呼吸停止。
Broken bones throughout my body, torn muscles everywhere. I went into a coma. I never stopped breathing.
絶望的な状態。
It was
だけ
hopeless.
ど
But
なぜか私は死ななかった。
for some reason, I didn't die.
そして数ヶ月後、
And a few months later,
見知らぬ場所で私は目覚めた。
I woke up in an unfamiliar place. Where am I? It's a hospital. Which one? Well, I don't really know either. You don't know? I don't know why, but I don't know. My name's Sugumi. Sugumi Komachi. You? Huh? What's your name? Well, I don't know that either. Sucks, huh?
記憶喪失の少年の隣で私は目覚めた。
Woke up next to a boy with amnesia.
窓の外は知らない風景。
Outside the window was unfamiliar scenery.
おそらくはアメリカのどこかの空の下。
I was pretty sure it was somewhere in America. We're gonna learn this in Germany, right?
だけどそれが地図のどこであるか知るには、
In order to find out just where I
そ
was,
れから実に8年もの年月を要した。
it would take another 8 years. 8
ずっ
years?
とそこにいたの。
I was there the whole time.
私はその病院に。
I was at that hospital. Who are you? I'm the physician who will be attending to you. Physician? Oh, you mean you're a doctor. Yes, I'm going to find a cure for your sickness and make you all better. Cure me? I got in an accident and got hurt. No, it was a little different than that. Different? You have a new disease, one that we've never seen before. A new kind of disease? So that
そうよ。
was...
い
Yes.
つ何がきっかけでそうなったのかはわからない。
I don't know how I got it or when.
だけど目覚めた時にはもう
But by the time I woke up,
きっと事故に遭う以前から。
I cut her off. But by the time I woke up, no, probably before I got in the accident,
私はすでに死なない体になりつつあったの。
I was already in the process of becoming immortal. All right, I'd like to take a little of your blood. Why? Well, it's for research to find a way to cure you, of course. Research? Your illness is very rare. Rare? There are very few people in the world who have it, and of all those people, you're special. Special? Your genetic code is being rewritten. It is truly fascinating. You're the talk of our whole medical center. I don't understand. What are you talking about? I'm a human being. Hey, don't worry about it. We're going to find a way to make you better, I promise. How are you going to get some blood? Well, Princess, hey, don't you worry yourself about it. Just give me your arm and we'll be done before you know it. It won't hurt. And then it totally does.
たびたび採血をされたわ。
They came to take blood samples again and again.
その時は深く考えなかった。なぜそんなことをするのかって。
Didn't know much about it at the time, why they would do that.
病気の治療のためだから。君や君の仲間のためなんだと、その医師たちに言われ続けてきた。
Doctors kept telling me it is so that we can find a cure for you, so that we can help you and people like you, which was baloney. Hey, you there next to me. What? You're sick too, aren't you? Me? Same sickness as me? No, I mean, probably not anyway. You mean you aren't sure? Yeah, I'm fine. I know. I can't. You can? I can see the future.
彼は言った。
This is what he told me.
これから何度も悲劇を見ることになる。
You are going to have many tragedies in your life.
だけどどうかその度に落ち込まないでほしい。
But I don't want you to be sad.
まず5年。それから3年。また3年。
First one in 5 years. When she's 20. Oh. This happened in 2005, right? So in 2005, she was... So then in 5 years she'd be 17. 3 years 20. Another 3 years 23. So the third one listed here.
でも君はそれでも生きていけるはず。
But you're going to live through all of them. Wait, 2017, 2020. Oh. The first one might line up with the death of Yu's dad.
だいたいそういう意味合いのことを私に告げた。
That's pretty much what he told me.
やがて彼の言った意味が幼い私にも分かり始める。
It didn't take long for me to understand what he was saying, even at my young age. Tsugumi took a look. There was a cat and mouse over there. Oh yeah, they're so cute. I wonder why they're in a place like this. Yeah, those cages are so small, it looks painful. You want to let them out? I wonder if it'd be alright. It should be. Come on, let's do it. Hey, wait. Okay, everyone, run while you can. Crash. Hey, what do you think you two are doing? Oh no, the experiment! Everyone be careful. Whatever you do, don't let them bite you. Watch out, they're contagious. They were really mad at us. You opened up those cages so fast you surprised me. They caught all the animals again. Yeah, they're right back where they were before. In those cramped, small cages. They're trapped again. Why do they have to be locked up that way? Why? I wonder. Why?
それがなぜかは少しずつわかる。
I slowly started to realize why.
ここがただの病院でなく研究施設だということもうすうす感じ始めていた。
I began to understand bit by bit, but I wasn't being kept that I wasn't being kept at a hospital, but a research facility. And they probably told your parents that you were dead.
誰もお見舞いに来ないし、
Nobody came to see me.
誰も退院する様子がない。
None of the patients ever left.
入院する人だってめったにいない。
There were hardly ever any new patients.
相変わらずここがどこなのかはわからない。
And the whole time I never knew where I was. Huh? They're all gone. You didn't let them out again, did you? No? Oh well, I wonder where they went then. I don't know. But they shouldn't have been kept in such a cramped space anyway. Yeah. Maybe the researchers thought the same thing and let them go then. No idea. It's no good. We still haven't been able to discover the reason or mechanism behind it. It happened right in front of me, but I still can't believe it. The only explanation I can come up with is genetic transfer. It goes against everything we know about science. They withstood up to 4 splicings. I think maybe they could take 8. Let's keep testing. No, if we continue, there is no mistaking if they're still alive. They might still even react at 16. But they're not. They aren't living creatures anymore. Is that what you want to say? Perhaps that way of thinking might have been correct, according to our old way of thinking, but we have no idea of the possibilities this entails. That's not right. It's crazy. Oh, the mice are still there. They're so cute. Wait, something strange. 1, 2, 3. Huh? Are there more of them or less? Oh, prototype mice. Great. So they cut it in half and it grows into 2. Did they put the cats back in their cages? The cover is locked. Ugh, I can't get it off. Huh? What? Hey kid, where did the kid go? Answer me. Get out of here. It's time for you to leave.
私がそこを出るまで8年間ずっとそんな日々が繰り返されたの。
That is what it was like for 8 years, day in and day out.
来る日も来る日も。
Every single day.
私も何度か研究所の人間に呼び出された。
Researcher called for
彼
me,
らは私の仲間だと自ら言った。
telling me I'm your friend.
けれど実際は違った。
But the truth is he wasn't.
わけのわからない検査や試験が幾日も続いた。
I was being forced to do all these tests and
ただの
experiments.
道具のように扱われ、
They just used me like some tool.
もはや痛みも苦しみも感じられず、
I stopped being able to feel pain or to suffer.
元のベッドに帰るたびに私はただ泣いた。
Back to bed, all I could do is cry.
隣の少年はついに帰ってこなかった。
Then one day, the kid next to me didn't come back.
たけし、どういうことだかわかる？
Takeshi, do you know why? Yeah. I mean, no, I don't know, but...
説明しなくってもいい？
So I don't have to explain it to you? Yeah. If it's too painful for you, you don't have to say anything more. Tsugumi was stroking Chami with trembling fingers. I put my hand tightly on Tsugumi's shoulder. To suddenly get hit by a virulent disease and become someone who would never age. Spend 8 years trapped in a research facility. I couldn't imagine how it must have been to go through that.
嫌い。
I hate it.
おしゃべりな自分が大っ嫌い。
I hate myself for talking about it.
おかしいね。
It's funny, isn't it?
たけしといると、いらないことをどんどん話してしまうから。
Whenever I'm with you, I find myself talking about the stupidest things. It's okay, you don't have to talk. I'm so sorry. It was totally irresponsible what I said back there. And it was careless of me to talk about being alive like it was just a given.
同情なんかしてほしくない。
I don't want your pity.
今さら。
It's too late. It isn't like that. It's not like that. Tsugumi, I was wrong, okay?
間違ってたですって。
You were wrong? She screamed suddenly.
そんなこと言わないで。
Don't tell me that.
簡単に。自分の言ったことを撤回なんかしないでよ。
You just can't take back what you say, not that easily.
それこそ無責任よ。
But irresponsible, that's irresponsible. I didn't know what to tell her.
今のあなたは、奴らと同じ。
Just like them.
分かってないの。何も。
You don't understand anything.
仲間って言葉を振りかざしてるだけ。
You throw around words like friend without really meaning it.
彼女の気持ちは、あなたに分かってない。
You don't understand anything about how I'm feeling.
彼の気持ちだって、分かっていない。
You don't understand anything about what the kid's feeling. She was making me feel it had been a mistake to say, I've been wrong. No, that wasn't it either. The truth was, there was no such thing as right and
生
wrong.
きている者はずっと生きるべきなんだと言ったわよね。あなた。
People are alive, should live as long as they can. You said that, didn't you?
私は生きながらえている。
I'll
お
survive.
そらく何度も死んで、まだ生きている。
I'll probably die many times more and I'll still be alive.
チャミも生きてる。
Chami here
でも
too.
たけし、あなたは今、本当に生きてるの？
But Takeshi, can you say that you're really alive right now?
本当に、そこにいるの？
Are you really there in front of me now?
どうしたの？
What's wrong?
私の言うこと、ありのまま受け入れるって言ったわよね。
You said you'd accept everything I had to say, right?
たけしはそう言ってくれたよね。
You said that, right, Takeshi? She bit her lip. Her shoulders were shaking. She looked bitterly disappointed. Disappointed that when she tried to live, she ended up dying. And when she tried to die, she ended up living. It was a process that repeated itself over and over without end. It wasn't right or wrong, it was her reality. And it was something that she had no choice but to accept. But I still wasn't able to accept
バ
it.
カみたい。
This is so stupid.
バカみたい。私。
I'm stupid.
うん。
So
きっ
many
とあなたなんかよりずっとバカなのよ。
there's so many things you could do while you are alive. They're all vanity, but you could still do them. But you know what? You're way stupider than me. The gondola swayed. We had arrived at the end of the ride. I had no idea how many times we'd passed by Quale. The door opened suddenly. She got up quickly and opened the door. Tsugumi. I stuck out my hand to grab her, but she swatted it away
触ら
immediately.
ないで。
Don't touch me.
私に。
Don't touch me. Slam. She closed the door from outside. The jellyfish I was riding on started moving again. Stupid. I muttered to myself. Stupid idiot. I said it myself. I said it to her. I said to no one and nothing in particular. To everything. Outside the window was the ocean. An ocean closed off from the light. When I passed under the shadow of the installation, the gondola became dark. And inside the darkness, all alone in the darkness, I bit down hard on my lip as I cried. Taking a break, we'll come back. Soon, it was night. In the conference room, you, Coco, and Pee were waiting. Even the kid. It looked like the kid had calmed down some. While I had been gone, it seemed that you and Coco had been able to talk some sense into him. You told me that he'd probably been upset by... Can I skip this? No. You told me he'd probably been upset by a reoccurring memory and had gotten worked up in spite of himself. I felt that I'd gotten out of hand and had said some terrible things myself. I went around to everyone there and apologized. Soon afterward, a report came to us in the conference room directly from Lemieux's terminal. So it seems like I'm talking like I just did cardio, but I didn't do cardio, I just did some pressing. Anyway, you read out the contents to all of us. Can I skip? Nope. Third floor, Dritte stock partition schematic. Cosmic Rail Room had flooded completely. Casualties, none. Flooding to other rooms, none. Skip, okay. Chance of damage spreading, none. Shivering slightly in the cold, I wrapped my arms around my knees, and we all went to sleep. Now it's letting me skip. I need to be listening more attentively to Sora's report. Just like you, Coco, Kid, and Pee. And even Tsugumi. Everyone is listening calmly to what Sora had to say. No one was panicking. Yet. Last night, Tsugumi's yells had pierced my heart, yet her bitter bullet didn't come out my back. It remained lodged inside as a constant reminder. She refused to look at me. Instead, Tsugumi just stared blankly in front of her. Perhaps that was for the best. No, that wasn't just it. Something else was bothering me. I tuned back into the affairs at hand, listening carefully to Sora's report.
旧来の通信回路については依然不通。
The gloomy atmosphere that had been hanging over the gathering lightened, and everyone started thinking about how they should spend their time. Sora's smile instilled everyone with courage. I was grateful for that piece of code in Sora's AI, the function that allowed her to be calm in times of trouble. This is the party scene, I presume.
Eh.
Shocked to see her. She appears to me when you do like the Sora biased route. It's just that she's just like, oh, what are you waiting for? I totally blanked and went
私がここにいたらいけない
Is there a reason I shouldn't be here? Tsugumi spit out her words coldly. It was typical Tsugumi.
そんなことないよ。
No, not at all.
つぐみも一緒に手伝ってくれるよね。
Tsugumi, how about you help us out?
ええ、いいわ。仕方ないわね。
Hell, all right. I don't suppose I really have a choice. Tsugumi nodded reluctantly.
ココ、どうすればいいの
So, what should I do, Coco?
そうだね。
Well, let's see. Tsugumi glanced at me. She didn't say anything and looked away quietly. Her eyes seemed dead. Thinking about it made me sad. Tsugumi. After finishing my sandwich, I got up the nerve to speak to Tsugumi.
何
What?
何か用なのたけし。
What do you want, Takeshi? Tsugumi crouched on the stage. I crouched beside her and looked to see what she was doing. There, Tsugumi was drawing something on the stage with a thick marker. As usual, Tsugumi didn't look at me. It's the list of all of the sins of the people in the room. She stopped scribbling for a moment. I decided to come out and say what I had to say. About yesterday. I'm sorry, I didn't know what to say, but...
何のこと
About what?
言ってる意味がよくわからないわ。
I don't really know what you're talking about. Tsugumi was curt in her response. Tsugumi. It's just like that, character. It's like a diagonal down to the left U. Tsugumi. You're joking, right? There's no way you could have forgotten. I know you haven't. That's not just something you can just simply forget about. I realize that it's not something you can talk about casually, but... Her eyes wandering around the room for a moment. Then she looked down again at the scribble she had been drawing.
気にしてない。
I don't really care.
昨日のことは気にしてないから。
I don't care what happened yesterday.
あなたももう言わないで。
Could you please stop talking about it?
何も言わないで。
Don't say anything. Tsugumi was back to her drawing on the stage floor.
私、
I'm
脱出方法を私も考えてるから。
trying to think of a way to get out of here too.
邪魔しないで。
So don't bother me. Tsugumi refused to look at me as she spoke. After that, I felt a little gun shy. Okay, then. I stood up and left her there. I walked over towards where Sora was. Hey, Sora.
あ、どうしましたか倉成さん。
Help you with, Takeshi. Sora smiled softly when she looked at me. Nothing much, I just have a lot on my mind.
レミには現在各種処理を任せてあります。何かトラブルがあればすぐに教えてくれます。
Right now, Lemay is handling operations and will alert me if any troubles arise.
通信も脱出法の検討ももちろん継続しています。
Lemay is also currently continuing investigation of means of escape, as well as communication with the outside.
ご安心くださいね。
Please do not worry. Thanks, Sora, that helps. Can I ask you what time it is? I need to set it on
お
my...
安いご用です。時刻は
No problem, the current time is... Hold on a second. I took my PDA from my pocket. What I did...
そら、ちょっといい
Excuse me, Sora. It just skips. Okay.
ねえ、倉成。
Hey, Takeshi.
つぐみの怪我のことなんだけど、
About Tsugumi's injury.
急速に治っていく彼女の傷。
It is healing really
結
quickly.
局、抜歯もしなかったんだよ、あれ。
She didn't even need stitches, you know.
つぐみは変わりなく、私たちと同じように生活してるけど、
Tsugumi seems like she leads a normal life, just like you and me. I don't know, even to you, I don't think you could, I don't know how you could think that.
私も気にするまいと思って、とにかく事実をありのまま受け入れてきたつもりなんだけど、
I try not to worry too much about her and just accept things as I see them, but
やっぱりあれは普通じゃないよ。
that just isn't normal. She looked down at her feet when she
つ
spoke.
ぐみの体質のこと、 倉成は何か知ってる？
Have you heard about Tsugumi's condition? No, I haven't. Wait, I might
な
have.
んだかはっきりしないな。
You can really be vague sometimes, you know?
どっちなのよ。
Which one is it? I'm sorry, I forgot.
忘れ
You forgot? Just borrowing something from Tsugumi's book.
た？いい加減なやっちゃな。それでも君は男かね？
These indecisive types of guys, hmm?
ちょっと、なんとか言いなさいよ。
Say something. I was silent. I figured it was something just between Tsugumi and me. And I didn't really know enough about her condition to say, yeah, I know something. Plus, I was still having a difficult time believing the whole thing. Even when I saw it with my own eyes, part of my brain refused to accept it.
いっか。
Let's just drop it.
そっかそっか。忘れちゃったんだ。
You really forgot, didn't you?
まあ、それなら仕方ないですな。
I guess there's nothing we could do about it. How come you asked me about it?
さあね。
I wonder why. You said this sarcastically, playing dumb. And then a serious look formed on her face.
実はね、
The truth is,
デミを調査中に医療用のデータベースから気になる情報が出てきたの。
when I was looking at Lemire, I came upon some interesting information in the medical database.
ライプリヒ製薬のデータベースから。
It was from the Lieblich Pharmaceutical Database. Lieblich Pharmaceutical?
多分
Database?
救護室で治療の時に使うものだと思うんだけど。
I think they use it during treatment in the infirmary, but Coco and Pee-Pee. I could hear the splashes of their running
デ
echo.
ータを見て私信じられなかった。
When I scoured the database, I couldn't believe what I read.
老いることのない体、
A body that doesn't grow old.
ウイルスによる変質、
Mutated body type because of a virus.
常識をはるかに超えてる。
It shakes the foundations of modern science.
もしかしたら何か関係あるのかもしれない。
Something related to Tsugumi's condition.
データベースには症例の記録がいくつかあったの。
In the database, they searched through a number of old medical records.
つぐみと同じような症例の報告。
Found one that mirrors Tsugumi's condition.
一般にはまだほとんどその事例を知られていないウイルス性の疾患。
Generally speaking, the number of cases of victims of this virus known is very small. What? Hey, hold on a sec. How come Lemu has that kind of information?
知らないよ、そんなこと。
I don't know. Why ask me? Because plot!
分かってるのはそのデータとウイルスの名前だけ。
All I know is that data and the name of the virus. Is it Deep Blue? The name of the virus?
名前。
Yeah, the name. Okay, the reason why, this should not be a surprise. Like, the name of the virus probably came up before somehow. It's either, the simplest thing is that it's just Deep Blue. And Deep Blue has an 85% mortality rate. The other 15% become immortal. Or, Cure is a virus. Those are the only thing I can think of. Besides maybe Radical 6, but that has completely different symptoms.
その名は
It's called
キュレイ。
Cure. Well, the second guess was correct. What? They would name it for the same reason, right? Because it heals. Huh. Cure? Cure. I pondered the name for a moment. Just then.
みんな大変だ。
Okay, just let me skip. Yes. The virus that was totally different than the one Tsugumi had.
ここここ
Just that one line in there. Totally different, you say? It appears if you've had Cure, then you, like, Deep Blue doesn't have much effect on you. Because Tsugumi didn't, so at least Tsugumi didn't come down with any symptoms at the end there. Picked a joke one. Why not? I'm not gonna read it anyway. Same as the bad ending so far. That background is very underused. That might be a hint. Same so far. Don't dud me, game. Still going. Oh no. This is disappointing. Well, I got. Well, this is hard. Wow. Well, I'll save that I got a bad ending. Well, okay. Same bad ending. 82 out of 126 scenes, 115 out of 225 pass, 52 out of 114 was somehow still a percentage. Okay. So got all of the scenes up to here. So up to IBF. Silent Last Supper. Okay. Huh. And then there's more, 44 through 47, then Takeshi Spiel, then 49. There's some way to unlock the good ending there in the Takeshi route. I just haven't found it yet. And there's unseen scenes in the kids ending too. Right after encode decode, there's a missing scene. There's one after Inner Truce as well. So the question is, should I try to find hints in the kids route, or should I try to find the good ending in Takeshi? I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna go for the kid next. I'm gonna go through the kid, try to find another route as the kid, which would be hard because it seemed like it funneled me really hard into use route with no other choice I could make. And then try to go back to Takeshi and try to find the good ending. It seems like I've got all the content in it up until the end, and then there's like something missing here. There's 4 scenes missing, and then another one missing here. Huh. Oh, this is not an easy game, as I know so far. I guess that's it for now.